Real Madrid and Trent Alexander-Arnold, the agreement is very close, and here we go, is expected soon for the English right back to join Real Madrid from Liverpool as a free agent in summer 2025.
You can't say that we didn't see this coming, right? You can't say that we didn't see it coming. The writing has been on the wall, and maybe this video right here, it means a little bit more than it probably, is kind of put off. Yes, he's probably bummed out about the injury, but I think more so he's bummed out about knowing that this could potentially be his last time he ever suits up for Liverpool in the Champions League. And I personally think it's going to be his last time that he ever suits up for Liverpool, if you want to be very honest. Especially if we wrap up the title earlier than what we think. All those games will be less crucial once he does come back from injury, and I'm sure he won't want to risk getting re-injured before his move to Real Madrid. But you have to question some of the things that he said in the past with that this means more, 1 out of 4 hungry for more. I want to try, I want to be the captain of Liverpool. That's my biggest dream, and win Premier League titles with Liverpool, which he has done technically in all of those things. So do you think that, okay, maybe job done, let's move on, is what he's thinking? But apparently he was going to be the highest paid Englishman in the Premier League. We were going to pay him over 300,000 a week. That's most Salah wages, and he ends up taking 220 at Real Madrid. So you have to think that this potentially could have been not a footballing thing, not a money thing, but maybe an outside of footballing kind of thing. And I wanted to do this video to kind of break down some of my thoughts on maybe what he's thinking. And we've done a video like this before with Trent, I want to say last year. And we're going to play devil's advocate just like how we did in that last video. And if you love stuff like this, make sure you guys subscribe down below. We're growing at a really nice pace. We're almost at 7,000 subs. So if you could, please hit that subscribe button if you love the content, and leave a comment down below. Is it right for us to be upset at Trent in this whole thing, or should we still respect him and honor him and look at him as a legend of this club for bringing a title back to the club in so many years, and bringing a Champions League to the club, and being a hometown, homegrown, world-class player that he is? Or do we criticize the way that he's kind of handled this whole thing? And I'm a little critical, right? But I'm also understanding of where he's coming. So let's talk about it. I think it's him wanting to move on. I think it's him wanting to move on, and him wanting a new adventure and to do something completely different with his life, especially with Jurgen Klopp being gone. And I think that departure, obviously, it affected him more than it affected anybody else at the club. He was really the only one that cried when Jurgen left, and he was a lot like a father figure to him. And you guys remember in the very beginning with Arne Slot, it was almost like stepdad syndrome with him. But you want to lean back on some of the words that Klopp has said to previous players in the past, and I wonder if he's had a conversation with Trent before he's made this decision of, you stay here, they're going to make monuments of you. They're going to make statues of you. If you go to Madrid, you go to Bayern, you go to Barcelona, you're just going to be another player. And maybe he doesn't care that he's going to be another player. And I talked about this in the last video. They've turned his head, and I think it's stuff outside of football, right? I think it's outside of football that's really turned his head. You look at Jude Bellingham, it's the Jude Bellingham effect is what I call it, where he has just been an average kid from Birmingham, right? Who's gone to the German league, and then has made his way to Real Madrid, and his life is completely transformed at 21 years old, 21 years old, and he's become this iconic, kind of figure, and become larger than life, and has been all of a sudden the most important player in the English squad now that he plays for Real Madrid, and is getting ads with Kim Kardashian and Skims, and hanging out with all of these famous people, and living an absolute insane life as a near teenager, right? His best friend is Trent Alexander-Arnold. You don't think that they've been talking about those things, and Jude has been constantly trying to convince him to move to Real Madrid and experience the life that he's been able to experience as an Englishman? I think that's more what it is, because I think winning with Liverpool versus winning with Madrid, it's different, obviously. And I do think personally it means more at Liverpool. And Steve McManaman has said this before, is that like when you win with Real Madrid, it almost doesn't feel as special because you're supposed to be doing that. But winning is winning, right? You're still winning Champions League. You're still winning titles, which makes me think that maybe that's not what it's about for Trent. I think it's the outside stuff. And you look at some of the expectations that's just on his shoulders, right? As being the local lad, he's supposed to be the heir to Steven Gerrard, right? And I think the expectations of people that he doesn't know, like you and me, and all of the fans that are out there in Liverpool, and the expectations of his family and his friends are completely different. And I think we just grew up in a different era. We grew up with Stevies, we grew up with Scholesies, we grew up with Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinands, Wayne Rooney's. We grew up with all these players that were loyal to one club, or if they moved to another club, they stayed there for a long time, like Wayne Rooney. I think the era is different. This kid was born in 2000, right? Or 1999. You know, he's that 2000, era type of kid where I think loyalty is dead in clubs. And I think we need to stop expecting loyalty from players. And let's be honest, he didn't have a choice in deciding on where he was born. You know what I mean? Like if I was born in Mississippi, that doesn't mean I'm loyal to Mississippi. If I'm born in Kansas City, that doesn't mean that I'm staying at the Kansas City Chiefs my entire life. That isn't how sports work. And I wish it was. I wish it was magical like that. I wish it was sentimental like that. But unfortunately, it's not. And you have to think about this and look at it as like, does this cause a cascade effect to trickle down into the team? Does Salah sign a contract? Does VVD sign a contract? We don't know. It could be positive things. It could be negative things. But Reese, he mentioned in the Discord that it doesn't bother him as much because we're on the dawn of doing something new anyway. If this was a Klopp team, then I would be upset, which is a really good point. And I think that's something that we can maybe take with us, right? As we kind of move forward from, the Trent era and the last of the Klopp, kids and the Klopp players and things like that, is that we're lucky that we're in the midst of building something new. So maybe we can reconstruct and rebuild without the reliance of these three players anymore. And I know some of you are going to be like, "Oh, that's lip service. You're an FSG shill." Okay, just because I'm a positive fan and I want to see my team recover and do well and bounce back from things like this makes me a shill for FSG, then fine. I think most of you would like to be right more than you want to see Liverpool do well and be healthy as a club. And that's okay with me. I'm glad that you're here. I think we need both sides of the coins. But I think this goes one of two ways. I think either both VVD and Mo stay after this or all three leave. That's what I think. And you take people for their word. And VVD and Mo have both come out and said that they are very far away from contract talks, and it doesn't seem like they are going to get a new contract, especially with Mo. Mo's been very vocal about that. They've also been very vocal about their want to actually stay at the club, which Trent never was, right? Trent never was. And that's something that I think we need to take into consideration. The writing has been on the wall for a long time for Hendo, or for Trent. The writing has been on the wall for a long time for Trent. And you look at maybe in Trent's mind and you think he's looking at this as, well, look at Hendo, look at Millie, look at Stevie, look at how they're treating Robbo. Some of these players that have entered their 30s, they've casted them to the wayside and moved them on. Even Steven Gerrard, and maybe he's thinking, why am I being loyal to a business and to a club, the business of football in general, that's not going to be loyal to me? And you look back at some of these players like Mbappe, like LeBron James, and even Messi, right, who've decided to choose themselves and their families over the fans. And I think the fans in Liverpool FC, the business, is completely different. I think Liverpool FC, the fan base, and Liverpool FC, the business, is completely different. I think Trent loves the fans. I think he wants to be adorned by them. I think he wants to make them happy. But I don't think that he loves Liverpool FC, the business. And I think he's looking at it from a perspective of, I only get one shot at this football thing. I might as well make the most of it. And you look at some of the comments and some of the things that I've been seeing online about Trent, it's very immature. And maybe this is your first time going through a heartbreak of a Liverpool player, but it's not mine. I was here for Coutinho. I was here for Fernando Torres. I was here for Luis Suarez. Steven Gerrard, when he went to LA Galaxy, hurt me a lot too. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time, where we have a player that we love and even a homegrown player that ends up moving on. So for us to be immature and be booing at Anfield, which I don't think that our fan base will do, because I don't even know if we did it for Coutinho, who left unceremoniously. And put rat memes and stuff like that on him. I think that's just super immature. And if you think that he doesn't see these things, I think you are a fool. You and I both know we're all perpetually online. It's a different age. He's 26 years old. If you don't think he sees those things, he can. And maybe those were some of the things that factored into the reason why he decided to go, right? And a lot of people are saying Madrid fans are going to eat him alive. Well, at least he's going to be in Spain eating paella and chilling, hanging out with some of the famous people. He will take that trade-off, right? But the thing for me is that they win all the time. They're constantly winning. He won't have to go under that scrutiny very often because he's going to be in a fantastic side that are serial winners, right? So I get that argument, but I think it's super invalid. And you got to think, if you were in his shoes, I think you would want to have control over your own life and make a choice on your own, not from the pressure and the expectation of millions of people you do not know. And you would rather make a decision that you would want for yourself and your family more so than doing it for some random dude in Las Vegas who wants you to stay in the football club. I just think that's just the truth and just facts, cold hard facts. And I know it's not probably something that you guys don't want to hear. And I know you guys are probably going to come after me in the comments, but it's just the truth. And we're Liverpool Football Club. We will move on. Every single player that has left this club that we've loved so much and that we've had expectations for, and they decided to go on and do other things, we have gotten better, we have recovered, and we've gone on to win more. Look at Sadio Mane. Look at Firmino, Steven Gerrard, Gini Wijnaldum, Coutinho, Suarez. The list goes on and on. Most of those players go on and do absolutely nothing. I hope that Trent does go and have a very successful career, not against us, but very successful career. But the odds are not in his favor to even do that. So I'm not super tiffed about this whole thing, and I don't think you should be either. We have some great prospects on the horizon for right back, and I'm hearing some really interesting rumors about potential replacements. So what happens next? What's the future hold for him? I don't know. What does the future hold for this club? What is the future hold for this club? That remains to be seen. Only time will tell. We are in a very interesting and potentially uncertain time as Liverpool Football Club supporters, but it's also a very hopeful and full of anticipation, right? Full of anticipation type of time as a supporter right now. And I hope that you're on that hopeful side. I really do. But I get your frustration in the whole situation. FSG cannot force a player to sign a contract. They gave him the money he was asking for. He still didn't sign. So is this Trent's fault? In part. Is this FSG's fault? In part. I think it takes two to tango. But for Hughes, Edwards to be walking in on a situation like this, where three of your best players, basically in the history of the club, with their contracts expiring, is not ideal. So I don't blame them for that. I do wish that it was handled earlier, but maybe they didn't want it to be handled earlier. I think that's something that we need to talk about as well. What if Trent, Salah, and VVD were offered contracts before Klopp left and they just said no? Did we think about that? Even though we're giving him the money, we gave Salah the money he wanted. What does he want now? More? We gave Trent the money he wanted. What does he want now? Maybe it's not about the money. Maybe it's about the club and where they want to go with their lives and their careers. Think about that, guys. So I'll see you on the next one. I wanted to jump on and just say this real quick. We got some really cool videos coming up. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Love you all. We'll see you on the next one. Up the Reds. We have a beautiful season that we can look forward to. Don't let this hold you down, get you bummed out for the rest of the week. We'll see you soon.